So this is the ST travel system, and this includes the aluminum backplate, ST22 wing. ST system would include the steel plate. So there's some obvious differences there. We're going to go ahead and start off with assembly of the harness. So we're going to take our main roll of webbing here. It's all one continuous weave. What I'd like to do with this one is kind of start off just by go ahead and running it across the middle of the top of the back plate through these outer slots here. Just like that. And if you are using this with a single tank, which we are, we've added a second set of slots across the middle to run that webbing across the front of the plate. And the way that works, just go ahead and take this piece, just pass that through there. Just like that. Next up, we're going to run those shoulder straps through the top slot of the back plate. Just like this. And then the opposite side, same thing. Okay. The next step is to start putting on the hardware. So let's go ahead and start off with this left side here. And we're going to be taking our 2-inch bent D-rings. We're going to use 2 on each shoulder. Along with that goes a stainless steel tri-glide. So we feed that through the first slot, or the top slot. On goes the bent D-ring, all the way down. Just like that. Pass that back through. And then we're just going to repeat that process one more time for this shoulder. Again, make sure that bend in the D-ring is facing upward. That allows you to be able to clip on and clip off to the D-ring a lot easier than if it was facing the other way. It's also important with this that you make sure that there's a little bit of spacing between the D-rings. You can see I've already used this harness once, so it makes it easy to kind of point out where those spaces are. And the reason being for the space, provide space between each of the clip-off points, but also for our shoulder pads, which we're going to get to in a second. One more tri-glide, one more D-ring. And we'll move that all the way down and just create about 4 inches or so of space between the two. Just like that. And then we're going to repeat the process on the other side. Now on the on the right side of the harness facing it, make sure that you do put your hose retainer on with that first D-ring. And that's going to retain your corrugated hose on the wing when we get to that step. It's also important for these that you want to get them spaced out about the same distance. So go ahead and pull the webbing tight and just check where those D-rings are at. They should both be about the same distance apart, and also from the bottom of the back plate. Next, we're going to go ahead and put on our shoulder pads. Remember that distance we talked about making sure that you have enough for the D-rings. That allows these new shoulder pads to easily attach now after you've put the D-rings on. So that top piece just attaches like that. Middle one, and then the bottom. So there's the right side of the harness. The bigger piece of Velcro goes towards the top. You can notice this larger, thicker piece compared to the bottom, which is smaller. So that just goes on like this. Go ahead and slide that down. Put the middle one on. Just like that. And then the bottom. Easy to fold the D-rings out of the way for assembly. Once that's done, you can fold them back down, and that's how the top looks. Next, we're going to want to go ahead and put on our rubber tubing. These make it really easy to hold down your backup light when you have that attached to those D-rings or another accessory. We usually put 2 on each side, slide them all the way up. Just like that. And then next we're going to go ahead and assemble this webbing through the bottom of the plate. To do that, it's really easy. You just take the webbing on the outside of the plate, of this right side here, go ahead and twist it inward. Go in through the first slot there. And then back through the outer slot. Same thing on this side, except it's opposite. Go ahead and twist it outward. Take that webbing, feed it through the first slot, and then back through the second one. And same thing with this, you're going to want to make sure that the distance is about the same. You could always adjust this later. Some guys choose to put a tri-glide behind the plate there to lock it in once they have that adjusted perfectly. I like to leave it loose to be able to adjust it once I have the harness on, but it depends on user preference really. Next, we're going to go ahead and put on our hip D-rings. So 1 on each side. And these are the flat 2-inch D-rings that we're going to be using there. Oops. What I like to do there is space it about 6 inches off this part of the plate, which does vary a little bit by diver size. So you could adjust that however you like to. Next up, we're going to go ahead and put on a piece of rubber tubing on the buckle side to retain any extra webbing that you may have. And then the buckle. With the buckle, obviously logo facing upward. We're going to go in through the first slot, back through the second, back through the third, and then just to lock the webbing in place, we're going to go back through the end of it, or the first slot again, just like that. And what I like to do there is kind of push everything flat. Take that tubing, run the excess back through it, just like that. Next, we're going to go ahead and put the crotch strap on. This cross strap comes with the D-ring and the loop already stitched in, but this harness does come with an extra D-ring and tri-glide to attach for the back of the crotch strap for accessories, or if you're towing anything. Makes it really easy. Feed that through there. And this is all depending on your specific size, but in either case, I like to leave the D-ring about 4 inches below the back plate to make it easy to clip off. Any lower than that, your accessories are hanging down a little bit too far, or even between your legs. So 4 inches is about the max distance I would make that D-ring there. Go ahead and feed that through. And there's your crotch strap. Final assembly of the harness. Feed that crotch strap through the buckle side. Attach your opposite waistband. Go ahead and use the rubber tubing to lock in the webbing. And then pull the crotch strap back over the top, just under the edge of the buckle, just like that. Next, we're going to go ahead and put the wing on the back plate. Again, we're using our ST22 wing. So we're going to take the plate, lay it right over the top. Make sure the corrugated hose is on the back of the wing, not on the front. Easy way to tell there too is the label on the front says 22. That's facing the diver. We're going to go ahead and flip this rig over. You'll notice that I'm not using any hardware to attach the wing to the back plate. All we're doing is using this friction pad that's applied with the can bands to hold those two pieces together. So we're going to pass the can band through the wing. Through the plate. You want to pull it all the way through. So we're just going in through that first slot of the plate, through the second one. You'll see this in the user manual as well. And then back through the second slot of the wing. Once that's done, just pull it as tight to position that friction pad just over the middle of the wing. We're going to assemble the can band through the friction pad to lock that together. Just like that. And I usually like to keep the buckle about 6 inches off the edge of the back plate, just enough to be able to easily adjust it. Any closer, you're going to have some interference with the cylinder and the back plate. So this is about the max I would make it, just about that far apart. And then same thing for the upper can band. Just like that. Last step for these is to assemble the webbing through the band. It's really easy to see on the side of the buckle the routing and the webbing, but in case you haven't done that before, we're going to put this webbing through this large opening, in through the middle slot. Second, we're going to put it through the first opening, this opening here on the back of the buckle, and then the last step is to put it through that first opening. Go ahead and lock that again, pull the webbing across, and that's how it should look, just like that. And then repeat that one more time for the top slot, the top can band. And there are the tank bands. On the front, the last step is going to be to put our new back pad on. You'll notice the back pad is a two-part assembly. These are really easy to attach because they're Velcro on, Velcro off. To put the bottom on, you just undo these loops, just like that. And we're gonna feed those through the back plate. It can be a little bit tricky, so it takes a minute to get this through. And I would just do one piece at a time. So there's the right side. Left side. And you could pull those ones tight. But on the bottom piece, I would say, and be sure to note that this loop does come off. That's what you attach to the back plate to make this stick down. Make this one a little bit looser. And the trick there, having it a little bit more loose allows it to really, I would just say, easily attach to the pad, and also to maneuver this piece around on the lower part of the back plate. So you can see how that looks just sticking up there on those lower slots. And then once you push it down, once everything's laying flat, that just sticks down just like that. Now for the upper, same thing. We're going to attach that lower loop, comes off the back pad, to these two slots here. Let's go ahead and make this one just about as tight as the other ones, so not too tight. A little bit of slack there. And then for the upper part, it's two pieces of hook webbing and one piece of loop. And you always want to start by putting on that first hook. So we're going to go ahead and route that around the webbing first. So we got hook, we put the loop side on, and then we put that second hook on to lock it in place. On this side we got the same thing. So we got one of the hook, loop, and then the hook again. And once that's done, you just push it down and it Velcros in place. Pretty simple. Last step, going to be to assemble our inflator. Through the rubber tubing. Reattach our QD hose. And probably pull this a little bit tighter. It seems like it's fitted a little bit too large. Notice how I just pulled that webbing and adjusted the shoulders. So that is the one benefit. If you don't lock the webbing in, you can just pull it and adjust. You can adjust those down. So that was pretty quick and easy. And that is the ST travel system.